Adam Schefter confirmed the NFL is preparing illegal tampering charges to be levied against the Atlanta Falcons for Kirk Cousins and the Philadelphia Eagles for signing Saquon Barkley. But just how bad could those penalties be for the Birds? Also, one insider predicts the Eagles would trade all the way up to number 12 on Thursday night to land their desired corner. And hear why players are coming to Howie to express their ideas for the perfect draft day selections. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Now I know everyone, including LeBron himself, are still hung up on the refs last night.
And then I just saw what happened with the Sixers-Knicks game, too.
The NFL draft is 2 days away. The Birds are zeroing in on their draft pick, which I personally believe will involve a trade-up for Alabama's Terrion Arnold if he had to make me decide. Which, if you're wondering where Arnold would rank himself amongst the top corners in round one, he told the Draft Network yesterday, quote, "I have extremely high standards for myself. At the end of the day, cut the tape. The tape is my resume. I feel like I'm the best defensive player in the draft. The tape shows it." Between Arnold, Mitchell, Verse, and Turner, I think one of those players will be a Philadelphia Eagle, but in order to get them, you have to move up, trade further up in the NFL draft in order to grab that player, and I'm not the only one who thinks this is going to happen. ESPN NFL draft insider Jordan Reed put out this projected trade with the Denver Broncos yesterday, where Philadelphia would give up number 22 overall, 50 in the second round, and 161 to go up 10 spots to Denver's 12th spot and take the Bama corner. And while no, this isn't official, it's a good example of what a projected cost to move up would be if you did want to go ahead and get one of those top 4 defenders. And don't get me wrong, this does make sense for Denver too. They traded for Zach Wilson yesterday, which means they could have their bridge quarterback if they still want a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix. Like if Denver believes Nix or Penix will be there at 22, why not trade back with Philadelphia, get more picks to help build that terrible roster, and still take the quarterback that you want? Would you guys do that trade up to number 12? Would you be willing to give up a first, a second, and 161 in order to go 10 spots up? Let me know down below in the comment section right now. Now, the man, of course, pulling the trigger on a trade like that is Howie Roseman. And if you're wondering what it would be like to be a top prospect in this year's draft, have a top 30 visit with the Eagles, meet Nick, meet Howie, well, listen to USC running back Marshawn Lloyd tell Kay Adams yesterday on her YouTube show what his experience was like visiting his childhood favorite team, the Eagles.
One of my favorite running backs, Saquon, now with the Eagles. You had a top 30 visit with them, though. I got to ask you, because Howie Roseman is like one of the most incredible, special, talented, wise, aggressive GMs that exist in our game. What was sitting with him in a meeting like that like?
It was different. Like I said, growing up an Eagles fan and then finally meeting him, he was super cool. Like I was not like, he was so chill. He wasn't, he just was a regular guy. And that was pretty cool just to see him up close and talk to him.
He was a regular guy. Super Bowl winning GMs. They're just like us. Who knew? And it's like, so when you go in there, is it like Sirianni's in there too? Because he's not a regular guy. He's wild.
Yeah, no, he is. Definitely is. He was a laid back, chill
really?
Guy as well.
Cool.
Yeah, really laid back. He had his feet on the table. He was just talking to me, asking me about my career, and just asking me about my life, honestly. And it was just good to have a one-on-one and talk to him, up close and personal. But I think they're both really two good guys for sure.
Now, of course, we mentioned it yesterday. Adam Schefter confirmed that Howie is looking to trade up. He's been calling teams, gauging the cost to go up to 12, 13, 14, somewhere there in the teens, although a trade will not happen until probably when that pick is actually on the clock, because the Eagles first need to look at what happens at the top of the NFL draft to see who's going to fall. If more quarterbacks go, that means more defensive players get pushed potentially outside of the top 10, giving the Eagles a lot more ability to move up and take the player that they want. Although apparently Howie isn't the only person deciding on who the Eagles want, he's been getting a lot of extra input from some of the players currently on the Eagles roster about who they want the Birds to draft this year, according to this very cool clip from NBC Sports in Philadelphia.
You mentioned Jason Kelce looked at some guys, liked Cam Jurgens. Do you have players on this team right now that are coming to you with tapes of guys or telling you, I like this guy?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's like I opened this door and now all of a sudden, everyone wants to scout. But you know what? I love that our players are interested in the evaluation process.
But perhaps the biggest story of the week that no one in Philadelphia or anywhere around the league seems to want to actually talk about is the Adam Schefter report yesterday on the alleged Atlanta Falcons Kirk Cousins tampering charges and the alleged Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley tampering charges from week 1 of NFL free agency. Schefter wrote a long excerpt that started with, quote, "The NFL investigation into alleged tampering charges against the Falcons for their involvement with then free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins and the Eagles for their involvement with then free agent running back Saquon Barkley is ongoing, and could reach a conclusion as early as this week per sources. Sources believe the discipline, which is likely to involve draft picks, is expected to be more severe for the Falcons. The ESPN insider would also add to examples of tampering discipline from the past, where the Dolphins forfeited their 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 third-round pick for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton on 3 occasions from 2019 to 2022. Team owner Stephen Ross and vice chairman limited partner Bruce Beal were fined. Ross was fined $1.5 million, while Beal was fined $500,000. The Chiefs also forfeited their 2016 third-round pick and 2017 sixth-round selection for tampering with Jeremy Maclin in 2015. The Chiefs were also fined $250,000. Coach Andy Reid was fined $75,000, and general manager John Dorsey was fined $25,000. Now, those 2 examples were pretty severe. I mean, a first-round draft pick for the Dolphins this past season is a lot to go ahead and give up. But if you're already upset about this whole situation, the little bit of insurance I can give you is that Adam Schefter did confirm the Falcons are going to have a more severe punishment than the Philadelphia Eagles. Still, though, that doesn't sound like the Eagles are going to get off scot-free, which is what I was kind of expecting to happen. To me, this reads like the NFL does believe the Eagles did tamper with Saquon Barkley during the illegal tampering period, which I know it's very ridiculous since we know every single team illegally tampers, but you and I are the deciding factor here. It's Mr. Roger Goodell, which doesn't bode well for Philadelphia. I think the Eagles' best hope right now is that the Falcons lose like a third-round draft pick, kind of like the Chiefs did back in 2016 for the whole Maclin incident. If the Falcons is more severe, then the Eagles could maybe lose a fifth-round draft pick, a sixth-round draft pick. That, to me, is kind of the best-case scenario. And the Eagles do have 3 fifth-round draft picks this year, and so if I had to bet, if they do go ahead and decide on the actual punishment this week, trying to do it before the draft, then maybe be a third-round draft pick for the Falcons and a fifth-round draft pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's also still a scenario where Philadelphia doesn't lose anything this season, and instead is just simply fined, or they could take draft picks away in 2025. But again, if they're specifically trying to get it done this week for something that happened this offseason, they would be most likely that it's either a fine or it's something to do with the 2024 draft and not the draft next season. Again, this is all speculation, and I think it's really dumb. I'm just reporting the facts here. Remember last year, though, the Eagles and Cardinals suddenly, on night 1 of the draft, swapped picks due to Jonathan Gannon's idiocy, where he was apparently talking to the Arizona Cardinals while the Eagles were still trying to finish up the 2022 season. The NFL, for whatever reason, clearly has their sights set on a violation done allegedly by the Birds, and now we have to wait for their judgment to be handed down, which could come today. Maybe you're watching this show and it already happened. Could come tomorrow, or it could come the actual night of the NFL draft. Either way, Schefter thinks it's happening this week. Still, though, if Schefter's right, the Falcons are going to get the brunt of the punishment here, and that's probably going to determine exactly where the Eagles' punishment is going to land. This whole Kirk Cousins tampering thing, it's, again, ridiculous for the Falcons. I kind of feel bad for them as well. But what if the Falcons lose a first-round draft pick? That's number 8 overall, and that would bump Philadelphia not only one spot ahead of where they were at 22, but it would take the defensive lineman of the Falcons at number 8 out of the equation, and maybe in the end could actually help the Eagles. Now, again, I don't think that this is all worth a first-round draft pick for the Falcons, but we don't really know what Roger's going to do at all, and so definitely stay tuned. We have plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks, including night 1 coverage of the NFL draft. Myself and Josh Davis will be live for the entire first round at the best place to go ahead and watch who the Birds are going to take, but the rest of the NFL draft as well. Picks before everybody else, great graphics, and obviously a great time as well. If you have not subscribed to the show, hit that red subscribe button because we're going to be live and doing it as we did in the past. I mean, last year was a bunch of fun. 1,000 of you guys watched. Tune in on Thursday night. We're having a bunch of fun for night 1 of the NFL draft. I'm Thomas Mott. Keep an eye on all the Eagle news and beyond. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.